this video, I'll show you how to open a sidebar in your model driven app using the Ribbon Workbench Smart button. Now, Ribbon Workbench is an application which I have installed as a part of XRM Toolbox. So, XRM Toolbox is an application which has all the utilities which you can operate on various Power Platform applications. So, I've installed one of the tool named as Ribbon Workbench. Now, Ribbon Workbench comes with a set of toolbox, but there is an option for install smart buttons. Now, smart buttons, if you install Ribbon Workbench for the start, you will not be able to see smart buttons. But if you want to install that extension for smart button, you need to navigate to a URL develop1.net, and then from here you will be redirected to the GitHub page from where you can download the smart button. Now you need to install this as a managed solution in your environment, and once you do that, you should be able to see the smart button over here. Now, smart button has a lot of things over here. So you have an open dialog. So what I'm going to do, I have a simple model driven app. So I have a model driven app named as airline. So here in the airlines model driven app, it lists down all the airlines, some of the airlines of the world. So if I go into one of the airline, I should be able to see a button somewhere here which will give me an option to open a dialog. Now, in my previous example, I've shown a dialog which will appear in the center of the screen. But now, this time, I will create a dialog, but this will act as a sidebar. So it will open something in some place over here. It will open over here. So this is where the sidebar will open. So it is different from a dialog, but then it will open at the side. Now, why this is important is because if you want to show some information for a specific say in my example, I'm listing all the airlines. Now if the airlines wants to find out if there are any advisory information for me to look into, then I can go ahead and look into this thing. Okay, so the goal is to create a button over here which will load the sidebar. Now I have already created a custom page. Now custom page which I've created, which has a simple set of instructions. Okay, so I'm talking about Cyclone Alfred warnings near the Brisbane and the Gold Coast airport area. Okay, so if the airlines wants to see those information, they can go ahead and click on this information. So this is just like a fictitious example. Okay, now let's go into the Ribbon Workbench and then create a dialog. Now in order to create a dialog, I will create somewhere between save and new. So I'll just drag and drop this open dialog and then paste it over here. Now it will ask you for some more information. So what should be the name of that button? So let me call this as advisory. Okay, so this is like kind of an advisory information. Now in dialog URL, I need to specify the custom page unique name. Now the custom page which I have created, this one, it's named as warnings. Okay, now you cannot type in just warnings over there. You need to specify the name over here. So it's gcorp underscore warnings. So let me copy that, gcorp underscore warnings underscore b23a4 underscore b23a4. So gcorp underscore warnings underscore b23a4. Yes, so that's correct. Now here in the width, I need to specify the width. Now, if you go into your custom page, now as you see over here, this is your entire custom page. Okay, now make sure that the width and height are displayed accordingly. Now this is a a text control over here. Now the size width is 1315 and 622. Okay, so that's huge uh, width. Okay, but what we are going to do, we are going to just display that in a smaller section. Okay, now we have an option to modify our custom page, but I'm not going to go do that in this exercise. But make sure that once you put that width and height, put that accordingly so that the scroll bars are not visible, but in my case the scroll bar will be visible as this is a huge width application, right? So let me go into the Ribbon Workbench over here. I'll specify the width as maybe 600 or maybe 500. Okay, and the height, now remember, if you want to display model dialog, then display the height, you specify the height. But if you want to display sidebar, then put 0 for that. Okay, and then you specify this is warning slash advisory info. That's it. You click on OK, and you've done everything what you can. And this is like it will create this button advisory. Now you have an option to change the icon as well. So here, if you go into the icon set, you can go ahead and specify what different icon you want. So you can search for here, and let me put something, say invitations.svg. I'll click on publish now. Now this will publish that ribbon. That ribbon, once you click on it, it will open the dialog. Now the dialog in our case is a sidebar, and that's how this particular solution will get displayed. It's importing solution. It will import the solution, then it will publish the solution. So it might take some time. So by the time it loads this, I will just give you some introduction around the solution which I have created. Now this is the airline core solution. It has custom pages over here, so warnings and custom page airlines. But in this model driven app, I have this custom page airlines uh, custom page listed over here, but the second custom page is not listed over here. This will appear when the ribbon appears over here. Now import is still in progress. Now the use case, what I can remember is like as I mentioned to you, if you want to show some static information, uh, or maybe it can be a simple form as well, so it will be displayed somewhere over here. So it is not like a message box or a dialog box, but then it will appear on the sidebar, and then you have an option to X out of it, and then you can close that dialog box. So that will be visible in a short while. Let me do a control F5. Now, once I refresh the screen, I should be able to see this button over here, advisory. The moment I click on advisory, the warnings and advisory information custom page will load. Now here, as you see that we have made this application a bit bigger. Okay. Now what you can do, if you want to display any information on the sidebar, make sure that the font and the size of that particular sidebar is proper. Now you can even maximize this in full screen and see this information. I'll just close this off. I'll just open it again. So if I click on advisory, I should be able to see all this information for that specific airline. Now remember this height, as you see over here, you can even control this height for your specific custom page which you create. Now if you have this information properly structured, then you should be able to see a nice sidebar with some set of information. Now in my case, the use case was for an airline to see all the advisories, the latest advisory in the sidebar. So if you see over here, there is a Cyclone Alfred warnings in the Brisbane and the Gold Coast region. So if they want to read those information about this, and depending on that, they want to schedule the airline's flight for operating on that specific airport, they can get this information. Now in your case, it can be in a hospital management system or a real estate information system, so you can display the information pertaining to your use case. So that's it, folks. This is a basic introduction on how to load a sidebar using custom button developed in the Ribbon Workbench by utilizing the smart button. Thanks for watching.